Three. Hello. How's it going? It's the week of I don't know, but it's the following week.
The last week of March.
The last week of
Hey.
March, yeah. And this is the updates for Killer Bunnies from Mars. First up is the concept artist, Mr. Cobalt.
Wow.
So yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, high tech camera fade.
Woo. Magic. Hello, kids. It's art time. So another art update today, this week. And first off, we got the cute little fluffy wuffy bunnies that you'll encounter at the beginning of the game. And these are so cute and cuddly, you want to squish them, is the idea. Little pink rosy cheeks and little twitchy teeth and eyes. But they have a vicious surprise waiting that you will have to stay tuned to find out. Just so regarding those, we're going through some different bone structure methods and trying to figure out the kind of best way to rig them up. And that's what all these lines are indicating in different colors. You're welcome to pause the video and read through it if you're that inclined. And yeah, it's just really cool. And we're trying to overall we're trying to figure out how to balance between pre-animated, pre-baked animations and kind of ragdoll physics, right? Yeah, so blending stuff. He's handling most of that stuff right now, so I don't know a whole lot about it, but you know, some stuff. Yeah, and then figuring out how squishy they are.
Yeah,
squishy, lots of squish. So everything's gonna be bouncy, kind of like Sony Pictures animation style, right? Yeah. Then next up, we have the little what we call the minis. These are kind of function as like a scout unit. And they'll zip by on their little boogie board frisbee kind of things, little personalized UFOs, and beep 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 beep, and find you, and then they'll go zooming off again and report your location to the mothership. And then once that happens, you can expect that there's going to be swarms of bunnies around you in no time. Whoops. And so the little minis,
my little
bunnies are they're basically small versions of the bunnies stuffed into like a glass test tube, kind of like so. Like you can see this cat here is stuffed into that jar. A little bit cruel, yes. But we find it to also be kind of funny. Reference. So a dark sense of humor here. So yeah, it's rather kind of ironic these guys are just kind of squished in there, and there is some fiction behind that and some lore behind that, but we won't go into that yet until we reveal more on the
story,
the true forms of these beasts.
Oh yeah.
And so they have a little access hatch down here that they get crammed into, and then their little flashy light, ding 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 ding. Yeah. And then next up is the big UFO. I guess size to be determined. I haven't quite figured out the scale for this just yet. But this will be kind of the main method of spawning the enemies that you encounter into the world, into the game. And these are the ones that the scouts report the location to, and then they comes the UFO. And we'll then start spawning fluffies, which is the regular bunnies, right out of the portal here after the little spiral door goes in a classic awesome way. Kind of think like the original Alien films, the little vents.
Or when Luke came out of the bottom of Sky City.
Or that, yes. So pick any sci-fi movie of your preference and think of the spiral opening doors, and that's what we're going for. And then this bottom section goes up and opens into a larger section for a surprise creature that will be unveiled later. You possibly have seen it maybe in some of the videos, but
they've seen the gameplay. But...
well, they haven't seen the artwork.
No, they haven't.
Or the final design that we're going for. So, and then once again, I'll go to the next one just so you guys can pause this and read your notes at some point if you want to. and then along the top here we have the antennas that we're calling like rabbit ears, like the old TV tuning stations.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. We coordinated there. I didn't know. That was pretty good. To tie in with the whole bunny theme, right? And they still have the little pink bits to make them cute. And then, we had to have again, going kind of over a classic 1950s UFO shape that's instantly recognizable as a UFO. Will have all the classic sounds and traits of the UFOs that people all kind of by default think of. And then we put these little portholes in here, and I want to do something with it that was interesting and not just like lights or random holes. So we're kind of possibly thinking about using them as like a thruster mechanic. It's actually a propulsion, the engine of the UFO, if you will. So we'll see. We'll see.
Lots and lots of GPU particles.
Yeah. And cool cartoony flames and blast off things. So it zooms off. So yeah. I guess that's it for me. Yeah.
Right. Cool. Trade off.
Yeah.
It's like what is that? Kick heart?
Oh yeah.
Except for I'm not going to wrestle a very giant lady. Watch Kick Heart, by the way. It's on Amazon if you haven't seen it yet.
Crazy movie.
Yeah. Pretty cool one. So I guess for my end of things, I have it's definitely been a week of fixing lots of little tail ends of things, but the major things we're going through and really trying to mess with physics and trying to get it to behave itself in better ways, and because the entire game runs off of trying to get 300 physics bodies with ragdolls rolling around the entire world. So the bunnies themselves only run off of this one little sphere. That's what runs the bunnies as far as their physics motion goes. So very little there, but they also have ragdolls. So when you multiply that up to about 300 of them, you start to hurt a little. A really big thing that helped was not this substepping inside of physics. That just messed things up really badly. But what did help a whole lot was, where did it go? General settings, and saying use fixed frame rate, and setting it to somewhere around 50 or 60. But the way that it works is that if I have smooth frame rate on, yes, things look smoother at first, but they occasionally pop. And as more and more bunnies get on screen, more and more things pop, and it feels jarring, and it doesn't work for VR. Whereas if I lock the frame rate, and yes, it doesn't go as glass smooth throughout, but because it's a constant amount, your brain can deal with it better. And that way later on, when I have 400 or 500 bunnies in the screen all at once, and things slow down, they slow down equally, and then it feels smooth and your brain can accept it and work with it. Even though the world is going in slow-mo, your headset's frame rate is still up at like 90 to 100 frames per second. You can still turn and you don't get a stutter. But the bunnies are going at a slower speed, but they're going at a constant frame rate. And because of that, you don't get sick, and it doesn't feel jarring, and it doesn't take you out of the game. So that was the really, really big help there. So I give up a little bit of the glass smoothness for an overall being able to have more of them on and not have things break. Like without constant frame rate, when I spun the gun around widely and would shoot, the tip of the gun would delay a couple feet behind the gun and then catch up, whereas now they travel together and in sync. So that was a big physics thing. Next up was adding physics collision to the end of guns. So now you can smash the bunnies with the guns.
This is great fun. So you can play baseball, basically.
Exactly. Right? People really always wanted to hit them away from them. And a really big request was to make it so you can hit them with the tips of the big guns, the Gatling gun, and the Weapon 3. And so now with those, you can smash the bunnies around, and turns out it's pretty fun. And then there's scout bunnies, which are what these spline paths are. They're all different paths for some of these scout bunnies, the ones Cobalt was talking about earlier. And
mini zoomers.
Yes, and I think I can show real quick. Let's see. I don't know if you'll have sound, but if I can see them, where are they coming from? I never know which. There they are. And then they circle around you, and then up and off they go. So they let you know the UFO's coming from there. Like whatever direction they came from, that's where the first UFO is gonna pop up. So not only are they fun and entertaining, and they go as they fly around you, but they prove as a good warning system. Hey, here comes the enemy. And then so that was that. Oh, and getting the game to run smoother, I took this level manager actor and put all the variables into groups so we can fine tune how often the bunnies come, how many it takes to get to the next level, their attack damage, the number of them that can be on screen at once. And so because we have all of that on one actor, it makes, and in public group variables, it makes it very easy to fine tune the game one way or the other. That said, I still am I redid the whole back end here on how the waves work, or didn't redo it, but just cleaned it up and organized it a whole lot. Kind of redid it, but
redid the bad bits.
Redid the bad bits, yeah. And the multiplier, the way it works, well, sorry, I jumped ahead. We've added in a difficulty multiplier. So before, when playing the game, the difficulty was here, then here, then here, and here, and it would do these
stepped or terraced.
Yeah. Whereas now, it starts out way down and then slowly graduates till it's at its peak for a while, then stops and comes back down a little bit, and then graduates a little bit higher, and then stops and comes back down a little bit, and then graduates slowly higher. And so that way you get this increased ramp in difficulty, hopefully making the game overall more, the player can grow with it, and hopefully slowly but surely feel, oh my gosh, I'm completely overwhelmed, rather than just this kind of boring jump from one to the next, which is where this HUD comes in, that shows me, wave difficulty multiplier and all that. So the way that guy works is right down here. It just takes the current wave kill cap and subtracts the previous kill cap, and then gets the player's score and the previous kill cap. So you get a range of where the player's score is and where he's starting out and where he's going to try to get to the next wave, and then uses where he is in that scale to get a percentage, and that percentage becomes the wave difficulty multiplier. And the wave difficulty multiplier is then used to affect the amount of bunnies that are spawned and how many show up. So that way you end up with that graduating curve all the way up to the end of a round where you're up top for a little while. And that's what this down at the end does, this little, if you're below, where to go. Oh, because the starting point is at 0.2, and then it adds more, and you'll end up at the top for a little while before the wave ends. Anywho, and yeah, that's the multiplier and how it affects. Pardon my French. Should beep that. Sorry, it's not an adult channel. It's a kid channel. I'm sorry. Affects the enemies that come in. I should end that. My apologies. And
edit it out, right?
Yeah.
A little quick edit.
So anyways, that's the progress for the week. Joel's off this week visiting family, and
Right.
Yeah, he'll be back to jump right in next week. And there's the bunny stuff he's been coming up with, the stuff we aren't showing you yet. Trust me, it made me go ee. So you'll be happy.
Hopefully you'll go ee too
as well. So yes, thank you again for following, and a very, very big thank you to I should put this at the beginning, but I will. To the Reddit folks and the forum folks. You're so much help, it's ridiculous. I really, really honestly couldn't do this without that help, so thank you. And thank you everybody who's following. We're about to cross 100 subscribers, so hooray for getting word out. So thank you, and yeah, it means a lot that you guys follow along, and yeah, thank you so much. And anything else? All right. Well, in which case, have a lovely weekend, and we will see you next week. And yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Meh, 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 meh.